My red puffy cold eyes kind of give me an e-girl look. I don't know, is it a look? It's not a look. Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome to another recipe video. And today you're going to hear my voice very suddenly change as we're making sake matcha nama chocolates. Cold and flu aside, this is a fantastic recipe if you're struggling for last minute Christmas gift ideas. These are essentially boozy white chocolate truffles flavoured with green tea in the style of Japanese Royce nama chocolate. Nama is a Japanese word for raw, by the way, and in this case it's just used to describe the almost fresh taste of the chocolate. But really all it is chocolate, cream and a little bit of booze, and in my case I'm using sake. The original Royce nama chocolate uses cherry liqueur, but I quite like mixing sake with matcha and white chocolate. It gives sort of a fresh fruity note with a hint of umami. This recipe is super simple. All you need is double cream, white chocolate, matcha and sake. Just 4 ingredients. And the chocolates themselves take minutes to whip up. You just need to wait overnight for them to set. You can wait 4 hours, but I'd say overnight just to be sure. Then you slice them up, dustle with matcha, done. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. In fact, I started yesterday because I wanted them to chill overnight, and yesterday I still had my voice somewhat. But today, not so much. At least my hair is kind of behaving itself for once. Anyway, it's nearly Christmas, we're short on time, so let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. Now before we get started with any chocolate or anything, let's take a look at our container. I have an 8 by 8 inch square tin, and I've lined it with 2 strips of non-stick baking paper, which I've also helped to stick down with a little bit of vegetable oil, which I've brushed on the inside of the container, but not on the outside, so you can see it's dry. So some people know how to do it with one big sheet of paper, and then they cut the corners, they do a little trick, and they can use the whole sheet just to stick the inside and line the inside of a tin. I don't know how to do that. I've tried several times, I'm too uncoordinated, so the easiest way to do this is just to cut 2 strips the same diameter of your square tin and stick them in a crisscross, and this will help us lift up the truffles, the chocolate, when we're done. We're going to melt our chocolate over a water bath. So here I have a pan of just steaming water. You want it steaming and barely simmering. It's not even simmering at this point, but you don't want it to actually be boiling. And here I've got 400 grams of chocolate chunks. This is proper cocoa butter chocolate, so if you're using chocolate chunks or chips, make sure it's not the fake cake covering or white chocolate flavoured stuff, because that uses vegetable oil instead of cocoa butter, or along with cocoa butter. You want the stuff that's just cocoa butter. If in doubt, just get some blocks of proper white chocolate and chop it up. But if you can find proper white chocolate chunks, this is a lot easier. So we've got 400 grams of that. And by the way, make sure the bottle of the water doesn't touch the bowl. We don't want it too hot. And we're also going to sift in 10 grams of matcha. Usually I don't sift matcha into chocolate when I'm melting it because it doesn't usually create lumps anyway. But because we want to make really smooth truffles, in this case, I'm not taking any chances. You can if you want. I still don't think that it's going to make lumps if you don't sift it, but you know, why take the risk? Now we're going to stir that all together until it's nice and melted and well combined. How gorgeous is that? Not a matcha lump in sight. Absolutely delicious. Right, I'm going to refrain from eating this. I'm going to turn the heat off here, but I'm actually going to turn the heat on here. And I'm going to turn the heat on here because I'm going to heat 100 millilitres of double cream with 50 millilitres of sake. This is Jumai Daiginjo sake. I like using it the most for chocolate because it has quite a fruity, almost candy-ish notes to it. I really like it. You can use any sake you like though. This just happens to be my favourites for working with chocolate, and actually for drinking. And I'm just going to heat this until it's just steaming, and I'm giving it a little bit of a stir with my mini spatula so that the cream doesn't burn at the bottom, because I tend to find that happens. Anyway, this isn't one you want to walk away from, because remember, cream and milk boils just like that. You don't want to take your eyes off of it, so do keep an eye on it and do give it a little stir so it doesn't burn. Okay, this has just started to steam now, and we are ready to pour that into our matcha chocolate mixture. Let's turn the heat off. Let's pour it all in. Remember, the reason why we do this when it's hot is because we don't want to set that chocolate, which would happen if this were cold. And we're going to give this a good stir together. When it gets to this stage, I just like to scrape everything down with a balloon whisk, just to make sure there are no more lumps of white chocolate in there. Then I just go back in with a spatula, smooth everything down. And now this is ready to pour into our waiting tin. So I have a little towel here because I don't want any moisture getting into my Nama chocolate. Give it a bottom a bit of a dry. And then I'm going to spoon this, scrape it straight into our lined tin. Now I'm going to pop it back on this towel because I'm going to give it a few taps on the counter to get rid of big air bubbles. And now I'm going to pop this in the fridge for at very least 4 hours, but actually I'm going to do this overnight because I want this to set 100% before we cut it, dust it with more matcha and serve it. It's the next day and I'm losing my voice. I'm clearly very sick, but we will persevere. But on a positive note, this is set up beautifully overnight, so we are going to lift it out of our tin. We're going to put it on a chopping board. Since this is an 8-inch tin that we made in, I'm going to cut it into 8 1-inch squares. So I've got a little measuring tape here, I'm going to use that as a guide, and I'm going to score marks all around with a knife. Now in order to have clean cuts, I've run a knife under hot water and I've dried it off, and this is going to help make very clean cuts because it's going to melt our truffle very nicely. There we go. I'm a tiny bit pear-shaped at the end. I've got some smaller squares there, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, now I'm going to actually transfer these onto a clean sheet of baking paper so we can present them and dust them with matcha before serving them. Here we are, that's a lot neater. Right, now let's put on the finishing touches, i.e. sift on the matcha. Yes, more matcha. These are beautiful, really strong in matcha, which is exactly what we want. And since we have 64 here, that's 8 by 8, this is going to make 4 lots of 16 chocolates, which is perfect for 4 gifts. This is supremely green, as it should be because we've got a proper amount of matcha in there. The longer you leave them out at room temperature, particularly if you have a warm house, a warm room, then the softer they're going to be, because these are essentially chocolate truffles. They're never going to set 100% hard like chocolate, they're always going to be a little bit soft. In fact, when you buy Nama chocolate in Japan, they often give you a little cool bag as well to help keep them cool on your journey home. That's what we did in Osaka airport. We bought some Nama chocolates to take home, and we could also buy little cool bags for them to go in. Usually in the comfort of privacy, I usually just pop the whole thing in my mouth, but for the sake of daintiness, cheers. Oh yes, you can taste the sake in that. It's not too strong either, surprisingly. It just has a little bite right at the end, and it goes so well with that herby matchiness. Look at how soft it is. That is gorgeous. It's such an intense flavour as well. I would also suggest, if you're packing these in a box for gifts, dusting the bottom with a little bit of matcha as well. That will stop them sticking if for some reason they get left out for a little bit too long and they start to soften before they can be put in the fridge again. But also, if you dust them really well on top and you stack your truffles, then the bottom won't stick to the top either. Depends on how you're boxing them up. I would box them in a single layer though. So there you go, sake matcha Nama chocolates. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video, and I hope you will join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I'm tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too. I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food and slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. Oh no! Oh, there's literally a fire outside. Not going to zoom out too much because I don't want to dox myself, but oh my goodness, that's a lot of smoke.